This topic right here of sales is critical, because you could do everything else right, and if you don't know the process to convert a prospect into a client, your business can't grow. I've figured out a way to actually make this topic that a lot of people hate enjoyable, and there's every chance right now you're following the way that other people teach to do it that just quite simply doesn't work. People are actually now hesitant to book a call on your calendar because they're expecting what they're about to go through, and they know what's coming. They know that they're going to be cornered at the end of the phone call. They know that they're going to go through the objection handling piece, and they're trying to not give you much information so that you don't have ammunition to then push back on them, and it becomes this really difficult ping pong back and forth with them trying to get off the phone and you trying to keep them on there. And I was saying this to my friend Rich Sheffron. I was having a podcast episode with him, and I was sharing this exact same stuff. I'm having one of those moments where everyone's doing things a certain way, and I just feel enlightened. I'm like, I can see potentially a better way of doing sales that everyone else is telling me I'm crazy for. Everyone else is saying wouldn't work. And I just had this gut feeling. I had this hunch that it would work. If you have a business where there's a moment in your sales process where you pick up a phone and you speak to someone one-on-one, there's very few things we can guarantee in this life, but I do feel like I can close to guarantee this. You'll enjoy your conversations more. The prospect on the other end of the phone is going to enjoy it too. And the third thing that I can close to guarantee, because you have a part to play in this, that this will convert better for you than anything else you are currently trying right now. Hey, welcome back to the Expansion Podcast. It's great to have you here. I have had an absolute blast putting together the last few episodes, and the feedback I've received has been awesome. So thank you so much for playing a part in that. And I'm going to continue to do my best to create some of the most epic content for you here on this podcast. And today we're going to be talking about a topic that's actually quite close to my heart because I really enjoy this topic. I enjoy it because I've figured out a way to actually make this topic that a lot of people hate enjoyable. And I'm going to share with you what that process looks like. And it's actually very effective and very profitable too, if you do it right. It's the topic of sales. You might get that shiver down your spine when you hear that phrase or hear that word. And the reality is that's for good reason, because there's a lot of stuff online right now teaching sales in a way that is dirty, old-fashioned, doesn't really work anymore, feels a bit manipulative. And I've found a way to completely flip the script. And, you know, this podcast is all about expanding your business. And we need to talk about the most important ways to do that. You know, so we're going to be talking about traffic. We're going to be talking about sales funnels. We're going to be talking about copywriting and conversion and team building, all the different things you need to scale. But this topic right here of sales is critical, because you could do everything else right. And if you don't know the process to convert a prospect into a client, your business can't grow. You could have the most incredible social media content and you could be building a massive audience, and then you could be falling flat every time you get an interested prospect on the phone because you're saying and doing the wrong things. And there's every chance right now you're following the way that other people teach to do it that just quite simply doesn't work. And if you've tried it, you know this, and you also know that it doesn't feel good. I'm going to share with you today, and for those of you watching the video version of this, I've got 2 frameworks I'm going to share with you. And I've generated $40 million in sales as a result of these frameworks. I will give these to you as a free gift for being a listener. I've also taught this to my clients, and collectively they generated $130 million in just reported revenue. That's just the stuff we know about. And I've also used this script, and so have my clients, to sell anything from $5,000 programs to $10,000, $20,000. Some of our clients even up into $50,000 and $100,000 deals off the back of this. So in this episode, I'm going to break down for you the problems with the industry right now and what doesn't work with sales anymore. Then I'm going to teach you the overall structure that we're going for that does work and is unique to me and my clients. And then I'm going to walk you through these 2 frameworks. So if that sounds good, then strap in and let's get started. So let's talk about the issues with sales to start with. There is something pretty common in our industry called the one call close. And the idea is that marketing does everything that it can to get you interested prospects on your calendar. And once they're on your calendar, you then do your very best to say and do all the right things to lead that person to a yes at the end of that phone call and part with their credit card information and join your program. The problem with this is it's become so overused that people are actually now hesitant to book a call on your calendar because they're expecting what they're about to go through. They're expecting to get on the phone with you or your competition, perhaps, who are also using a similar strategy. And they know what's coming. They know that they're going to be cornered at the end of the phone call. They know that they're going to go through the objection handling piece, and they're trying to not give you much information so that you don't have ammunition to then push back on them. And it becomes this really difficult ping pong back and forth with them trying to get off the phone and you trying to keep them on there. And what I found with my sales team is that, and we're going back a few years ago now, when we were trying to do the one call close as ethically as we could, but a one call close nonetheless. Marketing's doing the work to fill the calendar, and now we're trying to close them. And what I was finding was, firstly, the team was struggling. They weren't getting yeses at the end of the conversation. But secondly, they were booking a second call anyway. So they were basically showing their hand. They were saying to the prospect, hey, you're in. I'd love to offer you a place if you would like to join. And so now the prospect is the one that's in control, and the prospect is the one saying yes or no, and then you're doing the objection handling to try and get them over the line. And it gets to a point where if you push them too much, you're going to completely lose any hope of the sale. And so then you have to book a follow-up, and you say, no problem, go away, think about it, and let's catch up on Thursday. So you book a second call, and my team were booking so many follow-ups. And then they were moving to a third conversation and sometimes a fourth conversation. I'm thinking, what on earth is going on here? And I was saying this to my friend Rich Chevron. I was having a podcast episode with him, and I was sharing this exact same stuff. I said this thing to him. For those of you that know Rich Chevron, he was the pioneer of the automated webinar funnel. You know, at the time, everyone was doing live webinars, and he had the idea of completely automating it. And some people at the time told him that he was mad, told him that it just wouldn't work, that webinars only work when they're live, and he just felt like he needed to try this out, like pioneer this new idea. And of course, automated webinars have become insanely popular, and everyone's using them. And you know, I've made millions and millions and millions with automated webinars. So it all started with Rich. I said to Rich, I was like, I'm having one of those moments where everyone's doing things a certain way, and I just feel enlightened. I'm like, I can see potentially a better way of doing sales that everyone else is telling me I'm crazy for. Everyone else is saying wouldn't work. And I just had this gut feeling. I had this hunch that it would work. And of course, we're here today because it did work, and it worked insanely well. And here's the switch. It's so simple and it's so subtle. And I've boiled it down into these frameworks, which of course I'm gonna share with you later on today. I take the one call close that everyone else is using right now, and I basically slice it down the middle, and I create a two call close. But not in the way you may have heard of two call closes before, right? We often talk about B2B sales, and you need to have a two call close because they need to take that decision back to the board, or need to take that decision back to the CEO and get their sign off, and then you send a contract. And like B2B is, you know, it has always been a kind of a 2 or 3 or 4 call close. I'm talking about an intentional two call close where on the first call, I do not allow the person to buy. I do not even offer them a place in the program. The first call is the setup call, and the second call is where I close them. And the reason this works so well, firstly, because it goes against everything that everyone else is doing in the industry. So now I'm different. But secondly, I'm actually creating this feeling that the prospect wants what they can't have. They get to the end of the first call and they perhaps expect an invitation into the program. And when I say that they're not allowed to join, the fact that I want to go ahead and think about them as a prospect and see if I want them as a client, suddenly I'm holding the status, I'm holding the authority, and it's up to the prospect to in some way sell themselves to me. This might sound alien to you right now. You're like, John, that sounds like an incredible scenario, but is that really possible? It is, with the framework that we're going to break down. But for me, this has just been absolutely game-changing. I get to the end of the first conversation and I almost have clients begging to join my program. And the more I push them away, the more they want it. And it's the complete opposite to what everyone else is doing, because the more we offer it to them, the more we push it on them, the more they lean out of the conversation and don't want it. So we've completely flipped that. You know, if you think about it like this, let's say, for example, you run a marketing agency, right? And you are one of 5 options, and there's a prospect shopping around for a marketing agency, right? And they speak to 4 of your competitors. And all four of them are using the old school traditional way of doing sales, right? They jump on the phone, they get to know the prospect a little bit, they share what they're good at and what they could offer them. And then they basically say, hey, look, I'd love to have you as a client. And so where do you want to go from here? And then they go through the whole objection handling piece and don't land the client at the end. Now the client continues to shop around. They've spoken to 4 people now that all want them as a client, and they speak to you as the 5th option. And they get on the phone with you and you tell them that you've got a bit of a wait list. You tell them that you're in high demand right now. You're not sure if you're able to work with them. You may need to go away and think about them. And so now they've spoken to 5 people, 4 of which want them as a client. 1, you, is pushing them away a little bit. Which one do you think is most desirable to the client? It's you. Why? Because you're the one that firstly stands out as doing something different. Secondly, they're subconsciously thinking there must be a reason why they're pushing me away. Like they're not desperate for the sale. They must genuinely be busy, which means that they've got proof of concept. Other people seem to like their work. And anyway, so many incredible benefits and reasons why this Too Cool Close works. And so let's start breaking it down, because you can use this no matter what you're selling, no matter what industry you're in. This will work for you. If you have a business where there's a moment in your sales process where you pick up a phone and you speak to someone one-on-one, this will help you. So if you're watching the video version of the podcast, you will see the framework that I'm holding up right now, and you can actually access this completely free. In the description box of wherever you are consuming this podcast, there'll be a link to where you can get this downloaded completely free. So go ahead and check that out. But I'm also going to walk you through it step by step anyway. The first call is called the push script. And this is where, as the name suggests, we're pushing the prospect away and building huge buyer demand. Then the second call is called the pull script. And this is where we are now pulling the prospect in and sealing the deal and closing them as a client. And they are delighted to do so. And there are specific steps, 10 steps to be exact, in the push script. And we're going to go through each and every one of them. I'm going to go through it pretty fast because I could talk about this for 10 hours. But what I want to do is just get this into your hands as quickly as possible. And then you can download it, play with it, and message me and let me know how it goes for you. So first step on this framework is to intro the call. And this is much like you would do in any other sales environment, right? You've always got to introduce the call. But what's really important about this first step is that we retain the authority, that we show them how the conversation is going to flow, that we are the person leading the conversation. So when we introduce a sales call, it's really important that we don't spend too long on the small talk, because the more you get into the friend zone, right, 5, 10, 15 minutes of just flapping your gums about the weather and your favorite sports teams and whatnot, it actually makes it harder to close them at the end, because you've moved from being a trusted advisor position to a friendly position, and it's difficult to sell from that. So when you're introducing a call, it's asking them where they're calling in from, it's asking them why they booked the call today, and then it's diving straight into the rest of the script. And we move on from the small talk. We just dive straight in. It's 1 or 2 questions, and in we go. That moves us to the second step, which is called the reverse frame. And so we tell them right up front in the conversation that this is not a sales call, so far as we're not going to invite them into any program at the end, and we're both going to have a chance to go away and have a think about it. So how this would sound is I'd say something like, so James, listen, I'm really looking forward to the conversation that we're going to have today. Just wanted to give you a heads up that there isn't anything on offer today. I don't have a particular program that I'm gonna offer you. In fact, at the moment, we're pretty loaded up with clients, and so we have a certain allocation every month for how many clients we bring on. So I'm not even sure whether we have space right now. So hopefully that just helps you feel comfortable on the call. This isn't some kind of bait and switch. We really are going to just have a chat today, get to know each other. I'll see if I can help you. You see if it feels like a good fit, and we'll both have a chance to go away and have a think, and maybe reconvene later in the week. Sound good? They'll say sound good. But now what's happening to them is they're going, well, this sounds refreshing. He said it's not a bait and switch, but I wonder if it still is, and that's going on in the back of their mind. So we pick that up later on in the call, which we'll get to. It's one of the later steps. It's actually step 8. So we'll come to that. And then what I do is I double down on that. So they say, yep, sounds good. And I say, awesome. So just to be super clear, even if this conversation goes really well and we really hit it off and we want to work together, and even if we end up talking about my program and what's included and how it works, we'll still go away and have a think. There won't be an opportunity to buy today. Sound good? Sound good. So they're going, gosh, he's really reinforcing this. It puts you in a place where they feel really confident in you, because the fact that you're saying that up front shows that you're not desperate for the sale. And that really does something to a prospect. But the second thing is it's helping the prospect to feel really comfortable with you in the conversation. and they're going to be more likely to open up and actually tell you the truth as opposed to not tell you the truth because they feel like you're going to use it against them. And so it's killing, multiple birds with one stone, and it's really, really powerful. Then we move to step 3. Step 3 is not new, okay? The reverse frame is new. I don't see anyone else doing that. That's unique to me and my clients. But the detective in step 3, everyone's doing this, right? But it's a standard part of sales and we need to do it. The detective is where we're asking the right questions, we're digging in, and we're finding out where they're at, their pains, what they're trying to achieve, and we're essentially looking for the solution that they need specifically. Good sales is far less talking and more listening. So good sales is just asking more questions, and the prospect is giving you that information in return. And so we're just asking as many questions as we can until we feel like in our notes we're really building an awesome prospect profile and getting a really good idea of where they're at. Then step 4 comes around, and it's pain amplification. Now, that sounds a bit nasty, and it's not quite as bad as it sounds, but we do just want to poke the pain a little bit, right? There's a reason why they're on the phone with you, right? There's a problem that they've got, and there's a solution that they need. And people primarily make a buying decision from a place of pain over pleasure, right? Pleasure being, I'd love that thing. That would be awesome. Pain is, I really want to escape this awful feeling and this situation that I'm in. And so the more that we can focus on the pain and bring that to the surface, the more likely they are to make that buying decision with you and therefore escape the pain. So we ask a few questions that draw out the pain. We double down on it by reinforcing it with them. And there's a whole process to that, which I teach in a training video that comes along with these frameworks. And once we've done a bit of that, we move to step 5, which is create doubt. And create doubt's a really important step. And I don't see enough people doing this in sales. We all know that there's competition, right? Like you're not unique in the sense that I'm sure you've got a unique framework and a USP and all that kind of cool stuff, but you do have competition. There are other options of where someone can go to learn something similar to what you have. And so we want to create doubt for 2 things. We want to create doubt for them being able to do this themselves, because that's a big objection that comes up, is people, okay, your program sounds good, but they think they can just have a crack at this themselves now. So we want to create doubt that they can do it themselves, but we also want to create doubt for every other option that is out there, right? We want to create doubts that if they go anywhere else to get this problem solved, that there's a very high chance that they'll stay stuck, but with you, the story is going to look different. So create doubt is really important. We then move to step 6, and step 6 is wrap it up. And what we're doing here is we want to make that person feel so incredibly well understood. I call it displayed understanding. When you go for a coffee date with a friend, right? And let's say you've had a bad week or something's going bad in the business or at work or in your relationship or whatever the case may be, and you just want to go and speak to a friendly ear and just feel understood, right? So you have a coffee date with a friend. And imagine how frustrating it would be if everything you were saying to your friend about what you had going on right now, they just weren't getting it. It wasn't landing. It wasn't making sense. You can tell by their facial expression, they're just not really understanding it. They're not sympathetic, right? They're not empathetic. And that's just going to make it feel worse for you. It's actually just going to, you're going to lean out from that conversation and lean away from that person because you're not getting the feeling back from them that you were after. Whereas now imagine the opposite. Imagine you're having that coffee date and you're speaking to your friend and it's just so clear that they're getting it and understanding it and resonating with you. And then imagine that they did some kind of a summary. Like, oh man, that sounds so tough. Like, it sounds like you're going through this and that probably means you're feeling like this and this is going on and that's going on. That's so rubbish. I'm so sorry. There's value in just feeling understood. You would lean into that person, lean into that conversation. You're starting to feel better actually, just because someone's understood and you've been able to offload. So offloading is not the solution. It's offloading and then feeling understood. And so by wrapping it up in step 6, we have the perfect scenario where we can demonstrate that we've understood. And so we're wrapping up everything we've spoke about, everything that you've understood about what they've said, everything about the situation. You're sharing all of the notes that you've made on them, and you're wrapping it up and saying, hey, have I got a good understanding of the situation? And they're going to say yes, but inside they're jumping for joy. Finally, someone gets me, understands me, and is here to help, right? So that's a really powerful step. And once we move from wrap it up, we move to step 7, which is the roadmap. And the roadmap is then when we present the steps that they need to take in order to get the outcome that they're looking for, to get the solution to the problem that they've got. The cool thing about this, and this is, there's too much in this step for me to unpack right here on this podcast. I've got loads of videos on this on my YouTube channel, and I've got different advanced trainings on this where we go deep on this, like hours and hours and hours. But the roadmap essentially is you're not pitching your thing, you're pitching the journey that your thing is going to take them on. So for example, I've got a program where I help coaches and experts and service providers to fix their client acquisition, right? So we show them how to get traffic, build a funnel, and close sales. And we've had tremendous results. I mentioned them at the beginning of this podcast, 130 million reported from our clients right now. Now, what we focus on are typically paid ads and a content strategy, a webinar funnel to turn that traffic into interested prospects, and then, of course, doubling down on this too cool close as a way of closing sales. So the roadmap is going to be talking about the type of traffic that they need and how we're going to get in front of people, the type of funnel that they need and what a webinar is and how it works, and then a bit about the sales here. But I'm not sharing exactly what the program looks like. I'm not saying, hey, it's a 6-month program and you're going to get X amount of one-to-one calls and you get these resources and this training. So that's the difference. The roadmap is not, if you think about your product, your offering as a vehicle, right? We're not describing the vehicle right now. We're describing the journey that the vehicle would take them on if they got in the front seat. Make sense? So that's the roadmap. And once we've shared that, this is where it gets really cool, is we then say to them, on a scale of 1 to 10, how good does this sound? I mean, does this 10 is, this is exactly what you're looking for, and 1 is, this is so far from what you're looking for. And you're waiting to get the 10 they're going to confirm that this sounds good. If they say 8 or 9 or anything less than a 10, then you've missed something, and there's a very high chance you're not going to close that sale, right? That's a conversation for a whole nother time, but you need to get them to a 10, right? Once they're at a 10, you say to them, before you move to the next step in the framework, which is step 8, before we move there, we say, awesome. Well, listen, I've got all the notes that I need. I've really enjoyed this conversation. Where would you like to go from here? And they are 9 times out of 10 going to ask about your product, okay? And that's what we want them to ask. And they almost guaranteed will. And you say, awesome, listen, I'd love to share that with you, and I'm happy to go into all the ins and outs, but this is where you move to step 8, which is called the push pitch. This is my favorite part. I have developed this myself. No one else teaches this. If they do, they've copied me. And it perfectly complements the reverse frame at step 2, okay? The reverse frame was, hey, I've got nothing to sell you, and you're not going to be able to join. And now step 8, where we do the push pitch, we double down on that, and we make it clear that that's the case. We've spoken to this prospect for 60 minutes now, right? We've had a great conversation. They've asked about the product. We double down. We do the push pitch. Here's how it sounds. We say, awesome, James, listen, more than happy to break that down for you. Do just want to remind you, what we talked about at the beginning of the call is I won't be able to offer you a place in the program today. I just have a process where I always go away and have a think about these conversations. I just want to make sure we're making the right decision and a good decision, and I want to make sure that I truly can help you. So I'll go away and have a think. You can do the same. So happy to walk you through it all. If you'd still like me to, they're going to say yes. In fact, more so, they want to say yes now because they want to be sold something without actually being sold something. Then you double down again and you go, awesome. So listen, I'm going to tell you everything about it, the price, what's included, how it works. And even if you want to throw your credit card at me, I can't accept it today. Does that sound good? Yes. Awesome. Then here's the cool part. You sell the pants off your thing. And when I say sell, I mean, you're not trying to get their credit card. You are talking about it. You're getting excited about it. You're letting the passion for what you do and the product you have come through, because there's no risk that you're going to be misunderstood as trying to actually get them to take out their credit card, because we've made it clear that's not happening. So you're able to say, well, here's how it works. You get this and you get this, and then clients do this, and then we take you to this part, then we give you this resource, and then we jump on this coaching call, and then this happens and this happens, and this is the part where clients get this result, and then we move to this, and they're just getting more and more excited by what they're hearing. You're getting more and more passionate with how you're describing it. And what do you think's happening in the mind of the prospect? They want this thing. They want it more and more and more, the more you're not letting them in. So that's the push pitch. It's such a cool part. And then we move to number 9. And step 9 is objection handling. And you might say, well, John, how are we doing objection handling when we've not even offered them the program? Well, it's quite simple. We say something like this. Well, listen, I mean, obviously we're going to go away and have a think about this anyway, but how does that sound to you? Scale of 1 to 10. Does that sound like the kind of thing that would be helpful for you, that would solve your problem? Yeah, sounds great. It's awesome. It's a 10. This is fantastic. Great stuff. Well, before we jump off the line, I mean, we've ended up speaking about everything anyway, so it'd be really helpful for me to know, is there any reason why this wouldn't be a good fit for you? Is there this? Is there that? You're asking all of the things that would have come up during the objection handling piece. You're asking them if they've got any questions about the program, and you're answering those questions. And what happens with the prospect at this point is they ask all of the things that would have come up if they were making a buying decision right now anyway. So you get it all pre-handled. It's just absolutely amazing. And then you move to step 10. It's the final step, and it's the tie downs, okay? And there's 3 tie downs that you need to get. And if you're new to this, the phrase tie down, I mean, the idea is, imagine you've just loaded up the back of a truck. You've done all this work, all this heavy lifting, and you've put these massive items in the back of this truck, and then you've got those cables that you throw over, right? And you latch them and you tie them down, and you secure the load at the back of the truck. That's what a tie down is in sales. It's securing all of the work that you've done for the last 60 minutes or so on the phone call, right? You don't want there to be something that you missed or that you didn't double down on and secure, so that then you get caught off guard when you come back on the second call. And so there's 3 tie downs. We want to get the tie down that they want the program, and they verbally confirm they want the program. Second tie down that we get is what payment option they would want. If they were to be accepted, what would they want? Would they do a full pay? Would they need a payment plan? We figured that out right now. And the third is, when can they start? Are they starting immediately, or is there a reason why they can't start immediately? We need to get those 3 tie downs. Otherwise, you're going to think this call's gone really well, and you're going to get to the second call and you're going to get caught off guard with a reason why they can't join right now. So those are the 3 primary tie downs. And then you book your follow-up call. You have them go away and think about it, to which they do. And then they come back. And again, 9 times out of 10, they just cannot wait to get inside your program. It's so cool. They even start to sell themselves to you at the end of the call in some cases, which is awesome. So that's the push script. Hopefully you like that. Hopefully there's some big takeaways that you've had from that. Don't forget, you can get a free copy of this in the description box of wherever you're listening to this, and you can literally get these 2 frameworks, study them. They come with a training that breaks it down in even greater detail than we are right now. So let's say that you book that call the next day or the day after, right? Well, we move on to the pull script, and this is a slightly shorter script. It doesn't take as long. There's not as much happening. In fact, sometimes the pull script is just 10 minutes. Like, it really is reconnecting with the prospect and getting their credit card information. I mean, sometimes it's as simple as that. And sometimes it takes that little bit longer. So there's a few steps on here. There's 7 steps this time. So let's go into these. The first step is the check-in. And the check-in is really important. Before we, like a kid in a candy store, just get too trigger happy and offer them a place in your program and tell them the good news, we want to check in and make sure that they are still feeling the same way that they felt when we got off the phone the last time. And so the check-in is, hey James, great to speak to you again. Hey, how are you feeling since our last call? It's as simple as that. How are you feeling since our last call? And you're listening for clues. They're either going to say, yeah, this awesome, I can't wait for this call, I've been so excited, last couple of days, great. Well, they might say, yeah, I'm doing all right. And you're like, something there. Let me figure out what that is. Because they may have gotten a bit of cold feet. They may have spoken to a spouse that's now said you're doing something stupid here by speaking to this person on the internet and about to join their program, right? So we got to do the check-in, and you do not advance with the call until you have gotten them back to the state that they were in at the end of this call. Whatever that takes, however the conversation goes, you just got to get them back to that state. Most of the time, they're still feeling good, and you just progress. Then we move to something called the recap. And the recap is really, really awesome, because this is where we recap 3 things. We recap where they are right now. We recap the fact that they want the program, because they would have confirmed that in the tie down on the last call if you did it correctly. And then we recap where they want to go. And we sandwich the fact that they wanted our program in the middle of the other 2 things. It's really quite clever. So we do the check-in, and we say, awesome, well, listen, I've got some cool stuff I want to share with you. But first, do you mind if I just do a quick recap of the call that we had a couple of days ago? Just helpful for me, perhaps helpful for you. Yes, of course. Great. Well, listen, we spoke about the fact that you're feeling like this, you're struggling with this, that this has been a problem for 5 years, that this is this. We then ended up speaking about my momentum coaching program, and we spoke about what's included and how much it is, and you were pretty keen on joining that, which was awesome. And then the third thing is that what you're really looking for is, and you present the outcome. What you're really looking for is getting your coaching business to 20K, 30K per month with X amount of clients. You want this level of freedom and you want this, and this. Does that sound about right? And you get them to agree with the recap, all three, because they're agreeing for the middle one. They're agreeing at the same time that they wanted your program. So they're kind of trapping themselves, but we're doing it in a way that doesn't feel manipulative, doesn't feel weird. They actually quite enjoy the process, but we're just getting them to agree to the recap. So they're recapping and agreeing that they want the program. Then we move to step 3. Step 3 is qualification. We want a couple of things in there that doesn't just make it feel like a spot in your program is guaranteed, that they actually have to qualify for this, that there's a couple of things that you're unsure of, and they need to start selling themselves to you. And so we say, well, look, if I can be honest, I've thought of the last couple of days, loved our conversation, really did actually, and you compliment them with a couple of things. I love when you said that. I love this. I love that. I just had 2, call them concerns, like things I just wanted to talk to you about. Can I share those with you? And they go, okay. So it's so interesting. It's so inquisitive. They're like, I'm on a quote unquote sales call, kind of, and now I'm being like quizzed on concerns they've got. It completely flips the script. Anyway, and then I'll share a couple of concerns that I know can only go one way in the conversation, right? It's like my concern might be that they wouldn't follow the instructions in the program, that I've had clients in the past that, have sounded great, and then they get in the program and they just don't do the work and therefore don't get the result. And that doesn't make me feel good as a coach, right? So I describe that and I say, I just wanted to make sure that like you are truly ready to just burn the boats and just go all in and do this properly and do this right. And does that sound accurate of you? They say, yeah, absolutely. They're qualifying themselves, right? And then I'm going to ask another question. I've got a list of like 10 of these options in the training that comes with this, where like examples of ways that questions you can ask that can qualify. Once you've done that, then you say, awesome, and you move to step 4. In which case, I've got some good news and some bad news. And this is where you make the offer, right? You allow them to come into the program. It's the first time they're being invited in. You say, well, I've got some good news and I've got some bad news. Which would you like first? And it doesn't really matter which one they ask for first. The good news is that they're being invited into your program. The bad news is a bit of a joke that they're stuck with you for the next 6 months. It's a very subtle psychological trick, because by getting them to laugh about a joke that's to do with them being stuck with you in your program, we're kind of laughing about something that now we're cementing it. Like we're having fun around a topic that could have been like jittery, and I'm feeling nervous about this, and like people panic when they make a big buying decision, and we're kind of agreeing that you're in, and we're kind of having a bit of a laugh and a joke about it. It's really quite powerful, but it's so subtle. So whichever one they ask for first, it's like, okay, bad news first. You say, well, the bad news is, James, you are stuck with me for the next 6 months. I'm so sorry about that, because the good news is I'd love to have you in the program. Can't wait to get started with you. I think I can really help you. And you move forward with the script. So good news, bad news. Now, you instantly tie this with the assumed close, okay? Now, the assumed close is we're not asking them if they want to come in. We already got the tie down in the first conversation that they want it and what payment plan they want and when they would start. We already know that. We've done the check-in and we've done the recap, right? So they're in. And so we're assuming that they're in. We're not asking them. So I would have the payment window open, ready to go. I would have their membership area pre-created, and I would say, awesome. So listen, James, you're making a great decision. This is so cool. When you're ready, give me the long card number on the front of the card you want to use, and we'll get you sorted. And then you shut up. This is where you go silent, because now this is the moment where they've realized, oh, shoot, like this is what it was all leading to. And now like I'm actually about to do this. And this is the moment where they might get the butterflies. They might feel nervous. The decision is starting to feel really real for them. So you're just quiet. You say absolutely nothing. If you even say a peep in this moment, you lower your status quite substantially on the call. So when you're ready, give me the card number on the front of the card. Silence. And you allow them to either go, oh yeah, okay, let's do this, and they get their card, or they have a few concerns. They get cold feet, they get a bit jittery, and that's fine. We move to step 6, which is objection handling. We've already done most of it in the previous call. You might find that the objection handling on the second call is just going over the same stuff again because they're just nervous about making this decision and they're trying to put it off for just a moment because it feels more comfortable. And it's fine. Don't panic. Don't worry that you've lost the sale. You probably haven't. This person's probably still going to close. You just need to just talk them through it a little bit, make them feel comfortable, answer their questions, and keep asking them, so you ready to move forward? Oh, well, I had this other question. No trouble. Fire away. They ask that question. You say, oh, that's great. Great question. Actually, we cover that here. We do this. We've got you sorted there. Does that answer your question? Yeah, it does. Awesome. You ready to move forward? Well, actually, I've got this other question. No problem. Answering questions. Do you want to move forward? Answering questions. You're ready to move forward. Okay. Final step. Step 7. Once you have secured the sale, the person's in, then you want to validate the sale. Meaning, worst thing you can do is just get the sale and then just hurry off the line, right? You're suddenly going to put yourself in the position of someone that they've had a bad experience with before, that just wanted their money. Now they've got it, they disappear. So you've got to make it clear they made a great decision. Tell them what's going to happen next. Hey, I'm going to connect you with, so-and-so on my team. We're going to get you set up, going to have your onboarding call. This is going to happen next and that's going to happen. Expect this email and expect this message. Sound good? Sounds good. Awesome. So you validate the sale. So those are the 2 scripts. Now, I should have told you this at the beginning of the episode, but never mind, I'm telling you now. When I implemented this the first time, this doubled my sales. Like literally doubled my sales. We went down to a 15% conversion rate, meaning we speak to 10 clients. Actually, let's do 100 clients and we close 15. And we moved to instantly a 30% conversion rate. So now we speak to 100 prospects and we close 30 of them. We doubled the business by just moving to this as our sales process. But you've got to get it right and you've got to practice. But if you do, there's, I guess, a guarantee I can make you. There's very few things we can guarantee in this life, but I do feel like I can close to guarantee this. I guarantee that you will enjoy your conversations more, that you actually have more fun. You won't feel salesy. You won't feel pushy. You'll get back to having conversations that you're having a good time. I also guarantee that the prospect on the other end of the phone is going to enjoy it too. That rather than speaking to someone that's just really standoffish and giving you a hard time, I think you're actually going to connect with people really well because they don't feel sold to. They're more open, their guard is down, and the calls are more enjoyable. And the third thing that I can close to guarantee, because you have a part to play in this, that this will convert better for you than anything else you are currently trying right now. It'll take some practice. It'll take some fine tuning. Make sure you grab a copy of this, link in the description box, go play with it, have some fun with it. And thanks again for tuning in to this episode of the Expansion Podcast. Got some really exciting stuff coming up in future episodes, so stay tuned. And let me ask you a favor. If you haven't already, please, wherever you consume your podcast, just make sure that you're subscribed. Really helps us as we grow. And I look forward to having you tune into a future episode. Take care.